Hi everyone, welcome to Rachel Pichler Yoga. My name is Rachel. Today we are getting specific and focusing all on the hips. So if that sounds good to you, find a little bit of space to move and just remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Let's get started, you guys. Okay, so we're gonna start in butterfly pose. So we're just gonna be bringing the feet together, the soles of the feet together, and the knees are gonna come out nice and wide, so making some butterfly wings with the legs. And then you're just gonna take your hands to your knees, and I want you to think about finding a nice long spine. So the closer you bring the heels towards the hips, the more you might feel it, but the more you might be slouching. So just find that sweet spot where the heels are in regards to the hips, that you can sit nice and tall. So make that diamond shape with the legs as big as it needs to be to sit nice and tall through the spine. All right, so take the hands to the knees if you haven't already. Sit nice and tall, lengthen the spine, and then let your eyes close. We're just gonna take a few breaths here. And just to let go of your day, of your week. Start to feel whatever might be going on through the lower body already. And relaxing through the shoulders, but still keeping that nice long spine, nice tall posture. Awesome, you guys. So we're going to take just a few more moments here in the butterfly pose. If you want to add a forward fold, you can start to tip forward from the hips, but let's keep the chest nice and proud. So avoid just rounding completely through the spine. Let's keep the chest nice and proud. You could have the hands in front or even behind. Maybe this doesn't feel right and you want to just keep sitting nice and tall with the hands on the knees. So a few breaths here. Just warming up those hips a little bit. Awesome work, you guys. So slowly starting to lift the upper body back up. If you were folding, let's bring the knees together and just give yourself a nice little hug, maybe a little rock from side to side if you really felt that one. We're going to be moving onto our hands and knees. So just come on over, find your hands and knees, and then we're going to be bringing the left foot forward and finding a lunge, nice low lunge. So that left foot's going to come forward, and then you're going to sink those hips towards the front of the room so that you can start to feel that stretch through the right hip flexor, so the top of that right quad. You can bring your hands to the floor if you want, a few moments here in the lunge. So if you want to just kind of shift those hips back and then forwards, just kind of move a little bit, you can, or you can just settle right into that lunge, maybe even lifting the chest and taking your hands and resting them on your knee. Just breathing some softness through those shoulders and the upper body, whether you've got your hands on the floor or up on the knee. And then just relaxing those hips. Breathe. Nice work, you guys. So if your hands are on your knee, let's start to bring them back down to the floor. So we're going to be, we're going to pull that left foot back, actually, and we're going to just come down onto the stomach. So a little weird transition. Once you get down onto the stomach, that left knee is going to come back out. So half frog. I want you to bring that knee as high as it wants to go, but the hips are coming towards the mat. So if your left hip is really high, bring that knee down a bit. I want you to think about bringing that left hip down towards the mat. So half frog, that knee's out to the side, and then the foot is kind of behind the knee. And then you're just gonna lay down onto your stomach or your chest. And feeling this through that left hip, maybe even into that inner thigh. And let's take just another breath here. And then slowly you can start to push yourself back up. So come back onto the knees. Let's bring that right foot forwards this time. So transition to the other side whenever you're ready to do so. Take your time, move slow, and then find that low lunge as you sink those hips forwards. Maybe pulse it out a few times. Or maybe just dive right in. Dive right into that stretch. Feeling this all through the top of that left quad this time, that left hip flexor. So good. Relaxing through the shoulders, only here for a few breaths, so settle in. Nice job, you guys. Let's take one more inhale. And exhale. You can bring your hands down to the mat. Start to slide that right foot and that whole leg back. We'll come onto our stomach again. Take that half frog on the other side. So bring that right knee out to the side, and it can come as high as you can get it, but with that right hip coming low, low, low. So depending on how open you are through the hips, just take a second to set it up. And then relax once you've found a little stretch. Nice job, you guys. Slowly, you can start to lift yourself all the way back up. So push up onto your hands. Bring your knees back together, and then we are going to send that left foot. We're going to go back to the left side, and it's going to come to the outside of the mat, or so the edge of the mat. We're going to sink our hips forwards again. So this is lizard, similar to the lunge, but the knee is on the outside of the shoulders. So that foot is over to the side, but still sinking those hips forwards and down, getting those hips nice and low. So you can keep your hands on the mat. You could take your forearms for a moment, sinking those hips nice and low. Feeling this all through that left side, even into that right hip flexor if you're lucky. I am one of the lucky ones. I feel that in both of my hips. Nice work, you guys. So slowly, if you are on your forearms, let's push back up onto the hands. We're going to take that front foot and move it over to the other side of the mat so we can come into pigeon. So start to move your foot over and then drop your shin all the way back down. So if you feel like this isn't working for you, you can always bring that foot, that heel really close to the right hip and just kind of lift the hips up off the mat a little bit. Maybe bringing a block or a pillow underneath that left glute. So again, just a few moments here. If you do want to drop the chest, you can, or you can keep that chest nice and proud today, but just sinking those hips down towards the mat. Awesome work, you guys. Let's take one more breath. And then we're going to push ourselves all the way back onto our hands and knees. So however you want to get onto your hands and knees, and then we're going to switch sides. You're going to bring your right foot to the edge of your mat. Lizard, sinking those hips forward. Let that knee come out to the side, and then maybe finding the forearms or just staying up on the hands. Few breath here. Sinking those hips nice and low. Nice job, you guys. Slowly starting to lift yourself up and then walking that foot all the way over to the other side of your mat, and then let's drop that shin down. Pigeon. I almost said lizard, but pigeon. So you can move that heel nice and close to that left hip if you'd like to do so. Maybe keeping that chest proud and just thinking about relaxing those hips, or add your forward fold if you want to drop the chest down today. Nice, you guys. Slowly, we're going to come back onto our knees. So plant your hands, lift on up, and send your front leg all the way back. And you can just take those hips for a little rock from side to side. We are going to move on to our back. So lay down. Just bringing your knees up in towards the chest to start, and then you can start to actually let them come apart and just hang onto your knees and hug your knees towards the floor beside you. So just knees nice and wide, getting into those hips yet again. So if your tailbone is lifting off the mat, see what happens when you actually try and push your tailbone down into the mat. You might feel that a little bit more through the hips. And then if you want to try to reach for the feet and come into a full happy baby, you can grab onto the feet and then see if you can stack those heels or those ankles right over top of the knees and then gently pull the knees to the floor beside you. Bringing a little bit of attention to that tailbone again. If it's lifting really high off the mat, see what happens when you try to press it back down. Does it change the stretch for you? Nice work, you guys. We're going to let go of those feet so you can let the heels come together. Slide your hands to your knees and then just hug those knees together and give a little rock from side to side. Massage that low back. And then when you feel good, you can drop your feet to the floor. Our feet are going to come together and you're going to let those knees fall out wide again. So butterfly, but we're laying down, so making that diamond shape with the legs. Let's take our right hand and place it on our belly button and take the left hand and rest it on your heart. Close your eyes, take a nice big inhale and exhale. Nice work today, you guys. Feel free to stay here as long as you would like or straighten the legs and come to Shavasana. But until we meet again, perhaps on Friday, have a great rest of your day. Namaste.